I'm Sabre Collier. I'm an early stage impact investor, impact investment professional, and international strategist. Just as when you have any kind of investment portfolio, you want it to be diversified so that it can represent the market, which will then protect you against risk. There's a whole market which is diverse in terms of sector, but what about the market which is comprised of people? When you're only investing into companies led by one kind of people, you probably end up really missing really big market opportunities, really handsome opportunities, and potentially ways that you can expand the social impact of the businesses you support, if that's important to you as an impact investor. Diverse businesses and diverse fund managers are shown to have higher performance, ranging from 20% higher returns for companies with gender diverse and gender equitable leadership to over 30% higher returns for companies with racially diversified leadership. There's been a lot greater awareness over the past few years, and more specifically over the past year, a lot greater awareness about the importance of diversity, initially within the venture capital private equity space, and increasingly within impact investment, which is adjacent or commingled with those other asset classes. In the US, this has led to an acceleration in the number of funds focusing on underrepresented founders, whether that's founders of color or women founders. This is just starting to get the uptick here in the UK, where you have initiatives such as Diversity VC or Included VC that are trying to change the faces of those asset classes, both internally and in terms of their investment portfolios. We all develop judgments based on what we see around us. And if you're a VC and all of the companies that you've seen are unicorns are led by young white guys in sweatshirts, then you could just try to match that pattern. Even worse if you live in a society where the media or other phenomena in the society give you a negative perception of the entrepreneurial capabilities or cognitive capabilities of a certain group of people. I think that the evidence that we're building about great high-performing companies that have a massive impact, that are extremely profitable, that are scaling in terms of their impact and their sales, that builds the evidence base that representation is creating and uncovering market opportunities. It's leading to better performing portfolios, and people can't ignore that. That's the reason why one of the biggest investment banks in the world just mandated that if you want to have an IPO, you have to have at least one woman on your board, because over and over the data was hitting them on the head about the fact that companies with at least one woman on their board tend to perform better. And that's the data that I'm trying to build by selecting and finding the best startups that I can. There's resources out there that can help you. There's a growing number of initiatives aimed at reaching more diverse groups of founders. And so they're less likely to have the same level of unconscious bias, or at least they're actively trying to surmount it. So those are resources that you can take advantage of. But the most important thing to do is to actually focus on building a great business. Your customers are your first investor, and they're your most important investor. If you can keep building the traction, it becomes harder and harder for people to overlook or deny the numbers because of your gender or your race. So instead of worrying about the unconscious bias, put that energy into building a great business.